Hey there, everybody. My name is Angela Godwin, and this is Water Talk, brought to you by Water Online. My guest today is Brett Kaffenberger. He is with Itron. Brett, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
So, listen, I want to talk to you a little bit about water utilities and their networks. Their, network as a service, NAS, is something we hear about a lot these days. But are there ways that water utilities could maybe capitalize on some infrastructure that might already be in place?
Yeah, so for Itron, well, for customers that have electric Itron networks, so if
Mhm.
there's an Itron electric meter in place, and it is a current Itron electric customer, then we can actually fold in the water service area underneath the electric canopy.
Interesting.
So it requires us to work with the electric company. Sometimes utilities have a direct connection with the electric company. Sometimes we will broker that.
Yep.
But if it has an Itron network, electric network, we can pull water in underneath it.
That's great. And so what would be the advantage then for the water utility to do something like that?
Well, because they're not really, it allows the water utility to focus on what they do best, and that's managing water, not managing infrastructure.
Right.
So if you already have infrastructure in place and it's there and it's available, there's no sense of installing more infrastructure. So essentially, electric utilities keep up on their infrastructure, the outages, and this is something they monitor very closely. And they're always on top of it to make sure electric's back up and running.
Mhm.
So, it's beneficial to a water utility to have electric utility do that because they're going to have that stuff up and running very
Yeah.
quickly.
But I wonder, are there instances where the electric network and the water network, do they have areas that don't overlap? Like, how would that work?
Yeah, sometimes. So there's different technologies that we have to allow to augment that.
Mhm.
So if you have a service area that's covered by electric canopy of say 70% or say 80%, which is probably more realistic, of 80%, then you could augment that other 20% with cellular AMI.
Mhm.
So you could just essentially put cellular in, and all that data goes back to the same head-end software. So to the customer, they don't see any different. It all comes back to the same
Okay,
software.
interesting. All right, what about, let's say there's a network outage, right?
Mhm.
Maybe severe weather or something happens, there's an outage. Okay, who's responsible for that in a shared network situation?
So that is, it depends on how that agreement is set up.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes Itron handles the service level agreement, and we will be essentially the interim between the electric company and the water. Sometimes we just broker that between the electric company and the water utility. So it really depends on how we structure that,
Mhm.
but typically it's the electric utility that is taking on the SLA typically.
Gotcha. Okay, that's great. And are there any, I don't know, are there any obstacles to partnering with an electric provider? Like, could you partner with any electric provider, or?
Well, if it has to have an Itron electric meter,
Okay,
so it
so
has to be
that's the.
yeah, it has to be an Itron network, and there are some things to get through. Like I said, we typically will broker that. We'll start the communication
Mhm.
with the electric utility between the water. We'll handle that, and sometimes the water utilities have a relationship with the current electric provider,
Uh-huh.
and it's not that hard.
Yeah.
So we have projects out there. We work with customers like AEP, CPS, and San Antonio,
Mhm.
and Fort Wayne, Indiana,
Mhm.
where we have similar type of arrangements.
Excellent. That's really interesting. Do you ever have arrangements like that in more like rural and small areas? I would think that would kind of be a nice.
So yeah, there are. It just really depends on where. It really depends on where the electric service
Okay,
area
yeah, no, that makes sense.
is.
Makes
I mean, it
sense.
really depends.
Great. So, if any of our viewers they want to learn a little bit more, either about Itron or about opportunities for shared networks, where would you send them for some information?
Just to our website
Yeah.
at itron.com. Go to our website, and all the information's available there. And I know there's some white papers out there they can get as well on some of the stuff we've done. But yeah, you can check us
Awesome.
out there.
Sounds like some good resources on there. So itron.com. Check it out, guys. Awesome. All right, Brett. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it, and we wish you all the best of luck
Thank
going
you.
forward. And for Water Talk, my name is Angela Godwin.